You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Snap, the kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! He's gonna heave one deep down the field. It's gonna be to the goal line. It's gonna be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Thompson fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory's got a touchdown! Oh my! Dory's got a touchdown! Hands it off to Harmon. He comes back. Say goodbye.
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out a winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your boy Corey.
It's Dan.
And Del Torre.
Man, what a dramatic ending to the new intro, bro.
Yeah, we have a new intro. We probably got to cut a couple seconds there off the end, but man, there's a new breath of energy when I hear Tyree Cleveland scoring a touchdown instead of the SEC conference.
Yeah.
Coming hot.
Yeah, we might as well go ahead and start prepping the new one, man. It's the beginning of the end, but Mississippi State is why we all here. Before we get to the Mississippi State game, recap. Everybody had a good weekend. What's the vibes?
Yeah, good weekend. Was down in Sarasota just for the day and the evening. Nice relaxing weekend down in Sarasota. Got to watch the game, hang out in the pool. Just a nice little relaxing weekend yesterday. Spent some time watching, quite possibly, in my 36 long years of life, the worst Dolphins game I've ever seen.
Love to hear it, man.
Buddy,
I love to hear it.
Listen, Duval lost
Hey,
today.
just tune in tonight, man. Just tune in tonight. We'll see what happens.
Catching more ants tonight. I'm down for 1-16, Dan. And someone today was like, "You're the only Dolphins fan I know who wants to move on from Tua," and I'm like,
"No,
I don't think
Tua
so."
need to move on from Tua.
Yeah, well, yeah. Listen, do what you want to do. That's a decision you need to make with your family. You've got kids now. What kind of quality of life do you want to have? My good friends. He was one of my groomsmen. His dad was Jim Kick. Died way too young. Alzheimer's. Mercury Morris just died at 77. Like, this is not a game for longevity. You got a long life ahead of you. You've made a ton of money.
Yeah.
And if you don't blow it on the jewelry that I saw you wearing Sunday while you were watching the game, like if you put your money where it should be, your kids aren't going to have to work. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's got a bunch of money. He's made a bunch of money. He's got a bunch of guaranteed money.
Do what you want to do. It's your life.
Yeah. No, you've made multi-generational wealth. And if you use it correctly, then you're going to be fine. You can get a job, on TV, coaching. You can do something else, but it's not worth sacrificing
I think it's more
life for.
Yeah, I think it's like boxing. Now they throw the towel in for a boxer. He may not want to end the fight, but they'll end it for him. I think somebody like the NFL need to throw in the towel, or the organization. Somebody needs to throw in the towel for Tua at some point. If not, it could be very tragic. We could see something very crazy happen at a football game on the field, right?
Happened before. It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, the guy that hit Tua was dead on the field 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So I think for Tua's sake, and I mean, again, there's a lot that goes into making that decision and everything else, but you're guaranteed $55 million this year. I think you probably had 20 some odd $1 million on your first contract, not including endorsements and everything. I think it's time for Tua. But the Dolphins, they stink.
I like your backup quarterback. He's nice.
No.
I'm fine. I'm hearing rumors.
Thompson brand well.
That is your cousin. It's Dan's
No,
cousin,
it's not my
Skylar.
cousin. No, my
Hope he's
family's
doing well.
competitive.
Had a chest injury. Thoughts and prayers to the Thompson family. Yeah, no, don't trade for Russell Wilson. Just ride out with whoever's number 3. I don't know who number 3 is. Just ride with number 3. Ride all ew for Ewers.
Is that Boyle?
Don't win for Dart. Miss me with Cam Ward, but like
ew for Ewers.
we're workshopping it.
Oh man,
yeah. It's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a long season.
A lot of people are like, "Oh man, like this must be disappointing." I'm like, buddy, I've never once in my life expected the Dolphins to do anything, right? And whenever there's excitement, and
man, y'all flipping the script. Y'all ain't
no. I'm gonna cheer just the same way we're gonna talk about them. I'll cheer for the Florida Gators.
We're also not flipping the script because we were ready for a 10-8 season, 10-7, with a first-round playoff exit. Like that's what the Dolphins do.
Okay,
we're somewhere between 7-10 and 10-7 with a first-round playoff exit.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what, Nick? We can hang our hats on the one win was against those clowns from Duke. You know,
the Miami Dolphins are the only team in the NFL who has not had a lead in regulation this year.
That's great, and they still beat the Jaguars.
Still beat the Jags. This is the part where we throw our heads back in laughter.
Anyway, Corey, how was your weekend, brother?
Oh, it was fine, man. Dolphins my Jags didn't play yet, so I made it through my weekend without any disappointments. Gators won. My son's team, they took an L, but he had a very good game, man. He's developing nice, man. So overall, good weekend, man. Just family and vibes. You know the vibes.
We're still swaddling. 6 weeks old coming up, so we're still swaddling. You better believe that right arm is swaddled a little bit tighter. Let that left arm sneak out of the swaddle.
Softball?
Maybe. I don't know that it matters if you're lefty or righty in softball now.
Okay, so you're just child abuse.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Just a nice tight burrito. Nice tight swaddle.
Nice tight.
Weird for me. I did not because Freddie was supposed to be born September 12th. I didn't plan on going to this game or the Tennessee game. So this will be that was the 6th game I've missed in 12 years. Felt weird. Missed not being there, didn't miss getting to Starkville, which is not an easy place to get to.
Did you stay in Starkville, or would you like stay in like Tuscaloosa, then like drive over?
So the only time I went in 18, I think Cassidy and I flew into Birmingham, and she has family. Cassidy Hill has family in Alabama. So she drove up to see family in Mobile and then all the way up through Alabama. And then she picked me up in Birmingham. And then we just drove from Birmingham to Starkville on the day of the game and back.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine go to grad school there. And I mean, the stories of the limited amount of things to do there in Starkville or stay in Starkville are pretty bleak. I've never been to Starkville, and I don't know if it's on the old the bucket list.
It's literally just you go to cross it off.
Yeah, I don't know if that's one that I want to cross off. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know if it's made the list to cross off. You know what I mean?
It's a very unique stadium because one side is just like completely open,
right? Which
is weird for an SEC stadium.
Yeah.
But each side goes up really high. The cowbells are loud as hell. Like it's the first year I went, they had just started making them stop, like when the play was about to start. But they used to just the whole game.
The people wear like earplugs and stuff, or just
I literally got a headache at halftime.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's just because it's loud.
Yeah, I don't have any plans on going to Mississippi on purpose.
Yeah.
Been to Biloxi. Biloxi, though. I got family in Biloxi, but
you've been to Mississippi.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, for sure.
Listen, Anthony.
Jackson, Biloxi.
I don't think it's me, dog. I don't think it's me.
Yeah, we got some super chats. We're going to go through those. Anthony, Nick, you better miss all of the games for the rest of the season.
I missed a Florida Georgia game one year for a wedding. They lost. Florida lost. So I don't know if that's here or not.
Yeah. No, this is a good one. Prayers to the victims of the families down here in Birmingham, Alabama, who lost their lives in a mass shooting. I think the last that I saw, 4 people died. Saturday night. 18
Saturday night?
people
I didn't know
or so
anything about
shot,
this.
yeah, in downtown Birmingham. Looked like just some people that had some beef with each other. So I don't know if it was targeted towards the mass number of people, but certainly a very, very sad situation. And then with that, before we get into the show, prayers to all of those that are in the pathway of a storm that has not even really formed yet, but maybe a hurricane, maybe even up to a Category 3 hurricane. Helene, right now they have it going up to the Big Bend area, kind of where Steinhatchee all the way over to Tallahassee, Panama City, somewhere in that window. So if you are there, if you're in Tampa like I am, a lot of storm surge. If you're in the coastal region, just take it seriously, over prepare. But certainly that is something to watch out for. Anticipation is for Thursday, so we won't talk to you before then. So if you're in path of the storm, just make sure that you are taking caution and doing what you can to protect yourself during the hurricane. Corey, let's get a quick Brunt ad read, and then let's get into this football game.
Let's do it. Hey, make sure y'all like, subscribe, continue to comment. Super Chat move you up the list for comments or questions or anything like that. But we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. One time for the great folks at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. Anything you may need insured: home, auto, your life, RVs, motorcycles, trailers, anything whatsoever. Give Greg a call at 954-589-2204 or visit bruntinsurance.com. A quote is absolutely free anywhere in the Southeast. Greg, what it do, baby?
What it do? All right, gentlemen. The Gators go into Starkville, Mississippi for an 11 o'clock kickoff. Win 45-28. Gators were up at 1 point, 28-7. Did let up a late drive at the end of the second to make it a little bit closer. Mississippi State gets the ball to start third. Score gets up to 28-21, but then the Gators go and outscore them 17-7 to end the game. Graham Mertz, 201 yards passing. Montrell Johnson, 68 yards receiving. And Elijah Badger with 45 yards receiving were your leaders there. Aiden Mizell probably had about 150 yards called back from a very bad, what do they call it? A blindside block on that. And then I think there was a holding penalty, another penalty. But we'll talk all about that here in the second. Do want to visit the super chats here. Rawhides said, damn it. I think that's when we were talking about the Dolphins, but I don't remember. Appreciate your super chat. And then Hurdle 25. So UF beats UCF, LSU, FSU, and Kentucky. That's 6-6. Does Coach Napier get let go, and how upset will the Pro B win? Scott Strickland doesn't fire Billy Napier. I'm not sure what the pro is, but I appreciate that super chat.
I think 6-6. So I think 6-6, 7-5, like I said, gets him another year. I just don't see. I've said that forever. I've never wavered off of 6-6, 7-5 gets him another year. I just don't see how you get to 6-6 or 7-5. Yeah,
right now, if you look at the ESPN FPI, the chance that the Gators get 6 wins is 6.01%, and 7 wins is
there's a
0.67. I don't know if I've ever seen it this bleak. ESPN FPI has the Gators' expected number of wins this year at 3.92, with the only game that they are favored to win right now is the Kentucky game, with FSU being nearly a toss-up. FSU is at 51.09 and the Gators at 48.91 on that one. So 2 wins, obviously we're there. 3 wins, maybe 4 wins, 36%.
Fired. He's fired, bro. Get him out of here.
If he goes, throw that back up there for us.
He's out of here, bro. He's already.
I think the one issue in that is Tennessee is going to thoroughly embarrass Florida. Like, that's going to be a really, really bad game, a bad look for Florida. So even if you go and you win against UCF, Kentucky, LSU, FSU, to get to 6, What if you sneak in and Ole Miss win? I don't think that.
Come on.
I don't think so. Ole Miss looks legit.
They haven't played anybody though.
Their defense is nasty. Their defense is nasty.
They play like 3 blind schools though.
Who's Florida played? Texas A&M stinks. Mississippi State stinks. Stanford stinks.
Yeah,
we're playing SEC programs, bro. Like
Florida played Miami. That's the only good team Florida's played.
Okay, just say who they play. Ole Miss played. They haven't played anybody. I think they're going to be a good team, but there is some context there that they look lights out versus the blind people. So lights don't even matter.
So far, they've played Furman, Middle Tennessee State, Wake Forest. Wake Forest got beat so bad. Wake Forest is like, we'll just pay you the penalty to get out playing you next year.
That was wild.
And then Georgia Southern, they play Kentucky, then South Carolina. Man, this
schedule's pie.
I mean, that's a hell of a way to start your year, you know. Then they go LSU, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Yeah,
Florida would have gotten into a rock fight with Wake Forest.
Oh yeah, for sure. But this is
some 1917 rock.
Not about us.
That's kind of what we're saying. That's kind of what we're saying.
Stop changing the argument. This isn't about us.
No,
they haven't played anybody. You're saying what we say. They haven't played anybody.
So yeah, I think 6-6, 7-5. He 7-5 for sure. Billy Napier's coaching your team in 2025.
Bro, he's
6-6.
already out
There's
here.
a chance.
I just don't know
trucks
how
in the driveway right now. Yeah, he's out here.
They're not.
I don't know a situation, and we'll talk more about this after. I just don't know how you stack those wins to get 7.
Yeah,
at a point where you're not getting your doors beat in along the way, and people are like, "All right, it's time to move on."
That's the caveat. There is like, I think you're like. The score looks close if you only watch the box score, but I watched that entire Tennessee-Oklahoma game. On the road, Tennessee should have won that game 45-3.
Maybe. I thought Oklahoma's defense looked pretty good in the first half. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to say that, right? Because if they should have, they would have, right? Or could have, but they didn't, right? They were, maybe a onside kick away, which was a weird onside kick that kind of squibbed it over to like the 40-something yard line or 30-something yard line. But anyway, enough about that. We're going to talk about that later. I don't think that we need to worry about the Gators winning 7 games this year. It'd be cool. And I know that there's going to be people that DM us and be like, you guys are so negative. You guys got to support the coach and support the player. We can support them, but we can also say that this looks like doo-doo water. All right. So the Gators do have
baby.
Yeah. They did play 2 quarterbacks during this game. DJ Lagway went 7 for 7 for 76 yards. Graham Mertz went 19 of 21 for 201 yards with 3 touchdowns, and then kind of a rushing touchdown, but Austin Barber got that ball in the end zone. So he got a rushing touchdown there. Overall, really good. DJ Lagway did have a fumble, but other than that, fantastic quarterback play. I think there was a point in time when Graham Mertz had 12 or 13 passes completed in a row, but caught, so some different and some names that we've not caught touchdowns this season. So Hayden Hansen, Arliss Boardingham, and Marcus Burke. If you were to say, hey, Dan, I will give you $1,000 if you could pick these 3, and we'll give you 10 chances to make up the 3 that you think are going to score a touchdown. That's not a grouping of names that I would have put together. But ultimately, the offense scores some points. A fumble, stops one of their drives. But, again, score the most points that they've scored this season.
Word. Bird's the word. I mean, the game started well, I think. Like as far as like energy, and you on the road, you want to go get points early. They got points, moved the ball. First is I think they stalled out, if I'm not mistaken. I think they stalled out. But the rest of the series, Graham Mertz is on point. That in the first series we could have moved the sticks, but he missed. Some people say it's a drop. Some people say he should have called it, hit his hands. I thought the ball was a little high going across the middle of the Burke. But nonetheless, Burke didn't catch it. We didn't move the sticks. But outside of that, I thought they moved the ball pretty well on offense. There are some things while like Graham Mertz is being efficient, but he's leaving some plays on the field, in my opinion. While like his incompletions and everything are on point, there's just some points in the game where there's guys wide open. The one he ran for a first down, which is cool. We got the first down, moved the sticks. But in other games versus real opponents, we was just a better team than Mississippi State. And I don't think we're going to be running into that position where we got first-year coaches, better talent. I don't think it's going to line up for us. So we got to be able to maximize our explosive plays. And I think sometimes he leaves explosive plays on the field. In this game versus Mississippi State, it don't bite us, but in other games it will. But overall, I thought the offense did well. Our defense is just not showing up, man. Yeah. Even the drives that Mississippi State didn't score on, you could just see the lack of interior defensive line talent. It's just not there. It doesn't. This is the worst, and this is back-to-back years. I think 3 years back-to-back, man, of terrible interior defensive line play.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the defense. I want to knock out the offense first, just because I want to make sure that we give them, some of their flowers, because certainly the defense is going to take up a majority of this conversation. Do want to give them credit on the drives that they scored touchdowns. The play charts are the yards that they went downfield: 84 yards, 65 yards, 44 yards, 91 yards, 75 yards, 93 yards, and then 6 plays 21 to end the game there with the field goal. But definitely, move the ball down the field, which is, what you want to see. And obviously the offense has been, sputtering at times, this season. So at least, being able to score some first half points, which they did not do really against Miami, and then they did not do against Texas A&M. So again, Mississippi State is the worst opponent that the Gators have left on their schedule. But again, you want to beat the teams the way you're supposed to beat them. And we're going to talk about the defense, but on the offensive side of the ball, anybody else you want to give flowers to before we kind of go over who graded out really well?
Austin Barber.
Yeah.
Big man touchdown. Shout out to DJ Lagway, coming up with the cough, coughs it up at the goal line. Austin Barber falls on it. First rushing touchdown for Austin Barber, possibly ever.
Yeah, maybe. I know he's the first offensive lineman to score a touchdown this season. So he won SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week as well.
SEC Running Back of the Week, Austin Barber.
We're going to talk about the running back position here.
I don't like the predetermined series for the quarterbacks. And I think it was masked by a team who had a handful of SEC caliber players on their roster. First drive for Mertz, I think it was a 3-and-out. Then he leads a touchdown drive. Well, now it's DJ's turn. There's no feel for how the game is going. We told DJ he's going to get the third, so now he has to get the third. Then Montrell Johnson fumbles on the second play of that drive. Well, sorry, DJ. Graham knows that he's getting the fourth and the fifth, so you're back out. Even though your drive was only 2 plays and it wasn't your fault that the drive ended. There's no feel. I mean, like, there was feel. On the second drive, they brought DJ in to run the ball.
Right.
I'd like to see that. It went away from the script. I don't like scripting when the quarterback – I get why you want to do it. You don't want Graham Mertz looking over his shoulder. You want DJ to know exactly when he's coming into the game. He can be prepared. He can watch, and I get that. I just don't like it. And I think it worked. Obviously, I think Graham was 19 of 21 and DJ was 7 of 7. It worked. I think it worked because Mississippi State is a Sun Belt team, talent-wise, not an SEC team.
Yeah,
DJ was in. Go ahead.
No. James said it here too. I think announcing that DJ Lagway it was going to come in the 3rd, 6th, and 9th drive before the game even started.
He didn't announce it. He told the ESPN production crew.
Oh, okay. So then he told the ESPN production crew, who had no qualms announcing that he's coming in the 3rd, 6th, and the 9th drive. Again, just one of those things. I don't know if you need to share that information.
Coaches share a lot more with. Listen, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse are writing big checks to have the games on ESPN, so they tell them a little bit more than they tell us on Mondays.
Sure, then let's do some off the record stuff. You know what I mean? Like
that's just something dumb to tell anybody. Like that's even dumb to have, let alone tell somebody, and not to have the awareness that that's a dumb idea, right? And then like you tell that dumb idea to somebody else, like, yeah, we already have predetermined, scripted, like series set up, no feel for the game, and these are the exact drives. Like, yeah, they're fired, bro. I don't know. I don't know how much more evidence we need, man.
I mean, what if the opposite happened? Do you think you would have gone off script? Like, what if Graham Mertz wasn't dealing?
Graham would have played 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I mean
7, 8.
That's ridiculous. I don't know. I'm not a coach. Well, let's.
I'm not. Stay at the Holiday Inn though.
Yeah, I had a problem with that. I think Austin Barber was a highlight. Not a great game from Montrell. And I know Dan wants to get into the running back groups. I still think Montrell. I like the way Treon Webb ran against Mississippi State. I haven't been really high on Treon Webb overall, but I thought he played really hard, played well. Still want to see more Jaden Ball. Gotta keep Katie Daniels happy. Like we're gonna get into some weird times when they fire Billy and the portal opens for 30 days. It's gonna be weird. Yeah, you're gonna get guys mid-season going, you know what? I can survive a couple months without an NIL check. Let me get out of here.
Hey man, it's the game. We need a coach.
That's why Taylor Spirito was getting reps last week.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, I think the running back room, the pecking order needs to change a little bit. Montrell, I just don't. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Montrell is his boy. He brought him over here, and there's, if Etienne wasn't going to get the touches like we wanted, I don't expect these young boys to surpass them in the pecking order. But Webb is running better. I think Webb run better when we play teams our offensive line can make holes for. Like, give the offensive line some credit. They were making some big holes versus Mississippi State. They are Mississippi State, worse team than us right now. But when Webb has room to get downhill, he's a dangerous back, man. You can see the potential of him with a big offensive line that could create space. I think the overall most talented running back in the running back room is Jaden Ball. His vision is crazy. I think he has great vision. If it's not there, Montrell has the knack for not bouncing outside or seeing cutback lanes, right? His vision is not there, and he's tiptoeing a little bit to me. You feel me? I think Jaden Ball on size, speed, vision, the combination of everything and that you want from a running back, I think he's the most talented. The pecking order, and I like even some other guy name.
Jacoby Jackson.
Jacoby Jackson.
Got in the end zone. Jacoby Jackson. Yeah, no, he runs with a different, punch to him. But yeah, I think you got to play those guys more. I don't know if Montrell's 100% healthy, but regardless of health, I think those other guys deserve more touches in a football game going forward.
My apologies, guys. I broke my microphone, accidentally hitting it over. So my audio will be a little messed up today.
Dan. So Dan.
Yeah, I can fix it, but not live on the show here. All right. Yeah. So let's break down that room. Sorry. Let's see. So running backs leading the charge, Montrell Johnson, 66 yards, 4.4 yards per attempt. Jaden Ball has 4 attempts for 53 yards, 13.3 yards per attempt. Treon Webb looked like a maniac, 8 attempts, 41 yards. Graham Mertz, 24 yards. DJ Lagway, 22 yards. And Jacoby Jackson, 18 yards with a touchdown. DJ Lagway and Montrell Johnson did have fumbles on that drive. Each one of the running backs had at least one carry of more than 10 yards. Montrell Johnson had 3. Jaden Ball had 2. Treon Webb had 1. Mertz, Lagway, and Jacoby Jackson also had 1. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, The running back room doesn't look quite as Montrell Johnson heavy as I thought it might in terms of his ability versus who else is out there.
That's a very talented room, like for sure. And also like in the run game, you can see the difference when Lagway's in the game. Like he opens up some more lanes. And him and Jaden Ball in that RPO is going to be sites. You know, it's going to pay bills and also some bets in the future, bro. If they stay intact, but that's a deadly combo in the RPO, bro. But the presence of Lagway in the offense, a linebacker having to account for him, it just opens up more lanes. That's my biggest difference in the run game when Mertz is at the helm and Lagway. And Lagway is an absolute command when he's in that huddle. And he's on the field. He's moving guys around. He knows exactly what he's doing. Very impressive for a true freshman, for sure.
How do you guys think moving forward the Gators should handle the running back room?
They're going to handle it the exact same way they have been.
I understand how they're going to, Nick, and that's why they're getting fired. That's why they're getting fired. I'm asking what you would do.
It's just like, what are we doing then?
Because you get paid to be here, right? So, in your opinion, what would you do with the running back room?
I like I'm a Montrell fan. I think Montrell
as a running back or as an individual?
Running back. I think he's a good running back.
Okay.
No, he's a good running back, but
he's a good running back.
I don't think he's running the best right now. That's not saying he's a bad running back. I think Webb runs with bad intentions. We do need more space for Webb to get really into like his game, what he brings to the table. But I don't think he's running as hard as the other three guys. I think those other three guys are running for to pay mama bills a little bit.
Yeah, I think I would list them Montrell, Ball, Webb, Jackson, and then I just haven't seen enough of KD Daniels to even rank him. And I don't know that we will see much of him this year. Hopefully we see him next year in orange and blue and not some other jersey. But yeah, I think that's how I would list him.
Yeah, but it was nice to at least see some of these other guys that aren't going to get a lot of playing time get the opportunity and tote the rock well. If you look at the drive chart here, or not the drive chart, the total pass blocking, because we determined on this show that if Montrell Johnson is out there, they are likely going to pass the ball. He'll certainly run the ball, but if he's out there, there's a significantly higher likelihood that the Gators are going to pass the ball. Montrell Johnson was out there for 8 pass blocking or 8 passing plays. Trayon Webb was out there for 8. Both of them scored about the same when it came to pass blocking. So at least they didn't completely tip their hand, but I think most of those snaps for Trayon Webb were in the second half when it came to pass blocking. So if Montrell Johnson's out there, he's obviously the guy that they trust the most with pass blocking. So I think you're going to still continue to see more out of him. But the way that Jaden Ball was running, the way that Trayon Webb was running, and the way that Jacoby Jackson ran the ball just looked different.
Yeah, which when you're right.
Yeah, I think I'm with you when you're right.
And when you're wrong, it's far away.
Don't even know who that is, actually. Never heard of
me out, though. Let me out.
Yeah, it's sometimes Florida's offensive line gets pushed. Sometimes they don't. In the past, I had said, I think the difference between Montrell and Etienne is that Montrell had to break a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, whereas Trevor is breaking that tackle at the line of scrimmage to get 1 yard, where Montrell would lose a yard. But like you said, so I think there were holes open against Mississippi State. Not the typical Mississippi State. I know Dan Mullen puffed his chest at halftime. That was the unfortunate part about not being in Starkville. Had to watch Dan on the halftime show.
Dude, he's not a great commentator.
Not supporting Dan's Celsius stock holdings, drinking other beverages today. Yeah, I don't think he's very good.
No.
He's better as an offensive coordinator. And if he had his wish, he'd be in the NFL.
Maybe that Cowboys job that he's always dreamed of and wanted.
That's the crazy thing is like ESPN, now that Dan's an employee, like this whitewashing of Dan's career at Florida. Like all offseason, it's like I get it. Matthew Berry is Dan's on a show with Dan and does a podcast with Dan. Clearly Dan's friend. He keeps pushing it out. Dan keeps retweeting it. Then you get Kirk Herbstreit being like, I don't know why they got rid of Dan Mullen. Dan floated his name out to Adam Schefter to be included in the NFL because Dan didn't want to deal with recruiting. Dan wanted to go to the NFL. The NFL didn't want Dan.
Right.
Dan lost the culture, had no culture by the time he left the building. He won with McElwain's players, and when he had to start coaching he couldn't win. That's what happened with Dan in Florida.
I have a disdain for just mainstream media. They really have no clue what be going on. Dan quit. Like anybody that don't know, bro, you just say, oh, they fired Dan Mullen. He did this. No, he wanted out. He didn't want no parts of NIL. He was floating his name to the NFL during recruiting season. He was skiing and trolling the fan base. Yo, he was like, Sanford scored 50-something points on us. Like get out of here. It was time to move on. While Billy Napier wasn't the correct hire in hindsight,
yeah,
keeping Dan Mullen wasn't an option at that point. He had quit.
Mm-hmm.
Trust your local reporters. Support local media.
Yeah.
Support local media.
Always been a fan. Let's see, from an offensive line perspective, Austin Barber, your SEC offensive lineman of the week, and touchdown scorer graded out as the best. Najee Harris, then Jake Slaughter, then Brendan Crenshaw Dixon, then Devin Manuel. There, Cam Waits played sparingly. He did well, and Damian George was your worst performing when it came to pass blocking in this game.
Great run blocking, though, right?
Yeah. No.
For Damian, I thought he was like top 3 run blocking.
No. He was 20th out of 21 potential players in run blocking. So maybe what you were thinking of was second worst. There. No, your best performing run blockers were Bryce Levitt. This is just on the offensive line. There's wide receivers and stuff thrown in here. Was Bryce Levitt, then Devin Manuel, then Cam Waits, then Brendan Crenshaw Dixon, then Austin Barber, Jake Slaughter. Najee Harris was near the bottom. He was 18th out of 21, and then Damian George was 20th out of 21 there. From a pass blocking perspective, no pressures given up, no hurries, no sacks, and no quarterback hits. I'm not exactly sure like how they categorize a hit, because I definitely remember a couple of times Graham Mertz getting hit while he was throwing the ball, like the 2 passes that did not go beyond the line of scrimmage on 3rd down. He was definitely hit there. So I don't work for Pro Football Focus, but maybe that's a post-throw hit.
I did enjoy the 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff because it allowed me to get those grades and snap counts done like at midnight, and I have to worry about them the next day. One thing I wanted to touch on before we go to defense, though, is I wrote about this. The SEC is going to be $1 billion company if they're not already. Last year, They reported $835 million in revenue. They have essentially gig contractors who are worrying about TPS reports that are due on Monday and running out there in Bryant-Denny Stadium, in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and Neyland Stadium, and throwing flags. Aiden Mizell was down on the first one. Like when he got tackled, his forearm hit the ground, got back up, ran 60 yards. He was down on that one. The blindside block, when you put your helmet into somebody's numbers who on their chest, who is looking at you, is erroneous, egregious, disgusting. Like, what sport are we playing? You make so much money. I get it. It's only a 4-month, 5-month job. You pay these guys. You make plenty of money. You're making, I'm guessing you'll make $1 billion this year, because that $835 you made was with $55 million coming from CBS. Now you're getting $300 million from ESPN to play these games now. Pay some people where their only job is to be a referee, because it's bad in baseball, it's bad in basketball, it's bad in football. There's too much money being made. There's too much money being gambled.
Let's bet in the NFL too.
Have full-time referees and then have them training in the offseason. Hey, we don't want to pay someone a full-time salary for 4 months of work. Cool. Train them. Make them better. Because it's not just that Montreal hit. It's every single week we see terrible officiating.
Mm-hmm. Just in the game. 14 total penalties, 6 against Florida, 8 against Mississippi State for 124 yards there. So, but bad calls. Poor Aiden Mizell. He would have probably been SEC Freshman Player of the Week had some of those numbers not come off the scoreboard.
Well, what do you have? 5 for 45, and you should have had 5 for 101 in a touchdown, or 6 for 101 in a touchdown.
Montrell Johnson ended up with 36 yards.
Aiden Mizell.
Aiden Mizell. I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say. Aiden Mizell, 36 yards, 7.2 yards per reception.
It should have had another 65-yarder for that touchdown.
Yeah, Aiden Mizell just need way more targets and touches. He's explosive, a good route running. The way he made guys miss, we haven't seen that in a while. A guy catch a ball and make 3 or 4 guys miss and take it to the crib. Like he did at his size, speed, what he brings to the table. We should never see a walk-on wide receiver of any sort. But he definitely deserves way more targets, man.
Yeah, he did lead the team. This isn't to correct you. He did lead the team in targets and in receptions.
But that was because he was filling in for Eugene.
Yeah,
I think Corey's saying you need to, even when Eugene comes back, you kind of need
right.
No, for sure. No. I'm just adding some analysis here. He was the 4th most. I think Shim DK looked good, 43 yards. I think he looks great in punt returning, so want to give him his flowers there. And then Elijah Badger. Yep. Then Elijah Badger, Aiden Mizell, Marcus Burke, and then TJ Abrams got 2 snaps there as well.
I think who said it here? Casual Carolina fishing. The worst part was them stick with the call. So they look for it as targeting, and then they're like, oh, no, he wasn't targeting a defensive player because he was looking at him, but it's a blindside block. It's terrible. It's a terrible call.
When is there a chance we see Andy Jean this year, or is Andy Jean
Andy Jean played a snap. He played a snap. I was wondering if Andy Jean would play
on
before
offense?
Ricky Pearsall played. Yeah, Andy Jean had 1 snap. He missed a block that resulted in another wide receiver being tackled, and then he was never seen again on offense.
Interesting. Okay. I did not see him on the participation report.
He had 1 snap, I thought. Yeah.
I think you're going to have to find but he's on the participation report. He's not on PFF. So, but yeah, I mean, so on offense, Arlis Borningham caught a touchdown. Hayden Hansen caught a touchdown. Tony Livingston got a couple of passes thrown his way as well. 4 targets, 3 receptions, 18 yards there. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at offense. I mean, they did a pretty good job. Obviously, the passing looked good. You had a couple of fumbles. You lose 1. I think you had 3 total fumbles in the game, so got to hold on to the ball there. But yeah. Truth seeker here. Where was Billy when the refs made the atrocious call on Montrell Johnson? He should have been livid, taking that awesome play away. Mizell is him. I don't think I've ever seen Billy Napier truly yell and scream. I think there's been a couple of times, but it's not been recently.
Yeah, I agree with you. There was one that I saw on the timeline. Someone tweeted a video, and it was him going absolutely nuts on a sideline, but I can't remember the game. I can't remember seeing it.
It's probably been 2 years.
It's probably his first year, maybe.
Yeah.
But and I'm seeing that narrative starting too. You take on the attitude of your leader, and this team is too laissez-faire. And it's I mean, Jim McElwain nearly body slammed Kelvin Taylor on the sideline for a team that only won the East because the East was trash. Will Muschamp went 4-8 while having a stroke on the sideline every Saturday. Like, I don't know that you need to be there. I get it. Like, that's cool. You want to see some fire from your coach, but I also remember the old heads being like, Will Muschamp's an embarrassment on the sideline. Act with some decorum.
I mean, I think that there's probably an in-between ground there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you need to be Nick Saban. I mean, Nick Saban was a maniac on the sidelines. But I do think, I think that you've got to stand up. Not that I ever think yelling and screaming at officials will ever change their mind, but certainly definitely seems detached from most of the game when it comes to referee interaction.
Nick Saban looks intense, I would say. Not like
here it was. Tennessee,
even if Nick Saban is not like boisterous as like a Muschamp, there's still a way to be intense, locked in, focused, and bring a certain energy to your team. And there's just never that. There's just never a coaching up on the sidelines that I'm liking and I'm seeing. So I get what the fans are saying. Like, they take on there's a very lackadaisical feel, and there's no urgency whenever he speaks, whenever you see him on the sidelines, and we see that from our players. So yeah, like their energy reflects the head coach's energy. And the energy of Muschamp, win, lose, or draw, they weren't flat. They weren't lackadaisical, man. It was a physical football team. There was a certain edge to that defense. So yeah, it's a thing, leadership. But
there was an edge to Muschamp's defense, but we also had a spring where they didn't have enough offensive linemen to have an actual spring game.
Right.
So like, we're also whitewashing Muschamp because the defense we've seen. I told somebody on Saturday, they're like, this is the worst defense it's ever been at Florida. I'm like, dog, it's been bad since 2019. Like, it's just one bad defense is just melding into another.
Yeah,
this defense is slightly worse than last year.
Yeah, but it's
statistically slightly worse than last year.
I don't know what's up with the defensive line and defensive tackle in particular. Like, that's a bad bunch, man. And we got to talk about Justice Boone. Like, he's just not what we thought he was going to be.
He's a jag. Just another guy.
Just another
guy. A lot of Jags defense.
Slow, doesn't look explosive. Like, I don't know if there's anything about his game that I like in particular. 44 is another guy that gets out there, doesn't really bring a lot to the table. I don't know, man. The evals in the trenches, while there are some hits there's a lot of misses. And you just can't survive in the SEC with the trenches we got. Skill position is on point with the evals and recruiting, but both offensive line and defensive line, there's a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I want to talk about the defense. We do have some sponsors here, so I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Go visit Home Field Apparel. Go buy the hat Nick is showing you. That's a corduroy hat with the old Florida baseball script logo on it. Go check them out, homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale. They just dropped some new T-shirts. The Home Field Apparel shirts are relatively light. They just dropped some new heavyweight shirts that some folks might like as the weather starts to cool down here a little bit. They still have the bomber jacket. They still have the baseball pullover. They still have a lot of different things out there. So go check them out at homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale.
Yeah.
Corey, look at Dan in that perfect glow.
Yeah, it's that golden hour.
Showing off my forehead.
Golden hour, bro.
Look at Dan. Home Field just got the best ad read they've ever gotten. Golden hour, Dan.
Golden hour, Dan. Making my forehead look elite right now. Matt Thornton, thanks for your super chat there. I just looked right at the sun and now I'm seeing stars.
I'm loving this hat though. Corduroy. I'm down for a corduroy hat. I got one from our buddy at Dave's Freshly Used, whose name is not Dave, but Dave's Freshly Used. Got a corduroy hat from him too.
I called the man Dave for like a whole year, and then I found out his name wasn't Dave. I was like, bro, why don't you tell me? You got me calling. I'm calling you Dave.
So right now on defense, we're going to talk about all of those players. The Gators rank 112th in total defense, 116th in the amount of rushing yards that they've given up this season. And then they rank, you have to sort through it. I did a control F, 101st in passing yards, And then yards per play. This is going to be fun to watch. Florida sits 86th at 5.69 yards. So just, I mean, top to bottom, atrocious defense.
Another thing that go ahead. I got more takes, man. Just randomly, I just think just came back from the game. What's up?
This is gonna be a little bit of a rant. So if you want to go ahead, you can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
no, get your take off.
Still from that production meeting, the sideline reporter, I forget her name, so I apologize for that, said
was it Alyssa
Ron
Lang?
Roberts? No, it wasn't Alyssa.
Yeah.
Ron Roberts said he thinks the players are losing confidence in themselves, in each other. And I said, Ron, you just got here, dog. Maybe they're losing confidence in Billy taking his defensive coordinator who learned under you and having a trash scheme that got gouged and put them in bad positions. Then hiring a 29-year-old who also learned under you, who put them in bad positions in a trash same scheme, and they got gashed and looked terrible. And then when those two didn't work, they were like, let's just, you know what? Let's go to the tap. We've been drinking the water from out of the hose. What if we just take the hose off and we'll drink water straight from the tap? And the scheme is the exact same, which Billy has mentioned multiple times. Language is the same, scheme's the same. And what are we seeing? More of the same terrible defense. So, no, I don't think the players have lost confidence in themselves or their teammates. I think they've lost confidence in you. That's it.
I think these boys need media training. He should never tell any reporter his players are losing confidence or anything like that. Like,
what are these guys talking to the media
about? The room. Yeah, like who taught them media and how to like speak to people, like information to give up. Like, that's crazy. If you think you're just pretty much saying that you don't have buy-in in a lot of words,
right? Which is a shame, because that's your job, right? Is to create buy-in.
Right.
Players should be bought in because they have a scholarship and they play for the program, and they should feel confidence that you're teaching them well. But if after 3 games of the season, one of which was against Samford, you don't believe your players have confidence in each other, it goes up to who's the one leading them, right? The reason that they probably don't have confidence is because they don't feel that person that's on the field around them maybe understands their assignment, or maybe they disagree with the assignments or the plays that are being called. The confidence doesn't come just in, I don't think that this is a good player. The confidence comes from, we're not doing, from a coaching staff, a good enough job to put our players in positions to be successful.
That's facts.
And maybe you have deficiencies. Maybe you do have areas where you're not the SEC caliber program that you want to be, but then you have to adopt and make changes and not throw your players under the bus in front of a national TV audience.
And Billy didn't steal Ron from Auburn. Ron wasn't going to be welcome back at Auburn. So Ron should thank Billy for being able to work this year.
You told us that like 5 times. You're going to make sure everybody know that shit.
I don't like a coach sneak dissing his players when you're calling the plays.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
That is true.
He's terrible. Like, I just think the scheme is horrendous. Like, this 4th and 3s when we got like the numbers in the box just don't match, right? We got 6 in the box, they got 8. Like, from a number standpoint, it's going to be fairly easy for them to get 3 yards. I think was it GNF guys? They were saying with those numbers in the box, like the analytics tell them 80% chance that they're going to get that first down if they run the ball. You got 2 high safeties there. The goal line's right behind you. It's just a lot of scheme things that just doesn't make sense. And what's disturbing is these are all SEC veteran coaches. I just think the game has passed a lot of these people too. Like Ron Roberts, I think the game has just passed him. And I think the young boys he hired just didn't have enough hair on their chest. So he had 2 problems. And it's time to go. Like, this staff, the way it's built, from the offensive line structure, and you having 2 of those guys that can't recruit. The defensive coordinator room is an absolute mess. The evals, there's just no way. I don't care if they go and win 8 games. I don't think there's a way you keep this staff. Everybody know that these guys aren't fit for the job. If they luck up and win 8 games, they still should be fired. Get them out of here.
Oh yeah, that's just simply not mathematically possible right now. Corey.
Even
Great
if,
wins.
just say the good Lord smiles on the Gators, right? And they win 8. Still fire them.
The Gators and no one else.
Yeah.
Bro, the
Like
good
you
Lord's doing
say-
peyote
you
if the
say,
Gators
man.
win 8 games. You crazy? The good
Yeah,
Lord's with
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and doing ayahuasca if the Gators are somehow getting to 8 wins.
Right. Get them out of here. I don't care how you find it.
I'm just telling you that the leadership at Florida will let Billy Napier coach in 2025 if they get to 6 or 7 wins.
No, I don't think you realize how
Maybe I need to stop my tweets. I don't need to see that
That's
happening. On defense, we're going to talk about each, obviously, part of the defense there. A ton of missed tackles, boys. 23 recorded here. I think
they got to go.
somebody said 26, but PFS has 23. Bryce Thornton with 4, Shamar James with 3, DJ Douglas with 3, Sharif Denson 2, Tyreek Sapp 2, Trecos Bridges 2, and then a couple guys with 1. Josiah Davis missed 50% of the tackles that he tried to make. Cameron James 50%. Bryce Thornton 44.4, and Shamar James 30. Shamar James and DJ Douglas 42.9%.
DJ Douglas need to find a desk job and something safe to do in life, because football is too dangerous for him. He don't want no smoke. So, there's no jokes at DJ Douglas, but there's a nice office job, like, whatever you're majoring in, man, go ahead and pursue that, bro, because violence has got to be had from the safety position. He's coming down there, like downhill. It looks like he wants some smoke. When he get there, he just gets out of the way.
It does look like he wants to smoke.
He does.
Yeah.
I like his enthusiasm to be near
12 yards from the
Yeah.
line. He's like, yeah, dog. X gonna give it to you. He gets there and he's like, I want some Marvin Gaye. It gets a little R&B. It gets a little R&B.
Definitely R&B vibes, man.
He's running off to a house.
The remix, baby.
He is
Hey, it's
running
DMX
off.
when we're 12 yards back.
Yeah.
And it's boys to men when we get close to the tackle.
I'm telling you, running up to the house fire with no fire hose. Another guy got smoked in the secondary. Let's talk about secondary real quick. Devin Moore got smoked this game.
Hey,
Yeah.
Philly, no diddy.
No, I mean just not a great game for him.
Yeah, we got to start everybody
injury,
that yeah. I'm learning that whoever the staff say the best players aren't the best players.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they spent this offseason talking about how much better they've done with tackling and that was their goal and their effort. Whatever they're doing to teach tackling, you got to do the opposite for the next 8 games.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever you guys been doing, just stop that.
Just do the opposite. Yeah.
What was it, 20? Did you say, Dan, 25?
This is 23 here on Pro Football Focus. I did see one that said the Gators had 26. So 23, 26, whatever it is, not ideal. Not where you want to be from the missed tackle department.
No.
So King Malik, I see your comment. Devin Moore graded out as somebody that played more than a third or more than a quarter of the snaps in the game as your worst defensive player.
Well, the touchdown he gave up was a dime.
Worst player in run defense. And
listen, every time he makes a tackle, he misses a game. So I understand that.
and
Not trying to make tackles anymore.
And in coverage, he was ranked just ahead of Sharif Denson and then Teddy Foster. Sharif Denson obviously had a really rough game.
The touchdown that Devin Moore gave up, that ball was nasty. Like,
I'm not saying that it wasn't.
Yeah, like he gave him a touchdown, but like that was a dime.
That pass interference on Denson was horrendous as well. Like that pass interference they called on Sharif Denson was good defense. The refs were bozo, like FSU clowns. Like they went to college to be clowns, professor clowns.
He did have a nice strip sack there. Sharif Denson did,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. Yeah, he ended up with a sack. Nobody on the defensive line ended up with a sack during that game. Aaron Childs, Sharif Denson, and Jordan Castell are your only players with sacks. Nobody on the defensive line ended up with a quarterback hit. That was Grayson Howard, and Jack Pyburn playing in that F role. You did get some hurries from the defensive line. We definitely want to see some more from your defensive line there.
I mean,
the only good look from the defensive line, I think, was the goal line stand. There was a time where they got to the goal line. I want to get them flowers for that. That was a good goal line stand.
Rare Des Watson penetration. No Diddy, good play.
Balls, no baby oil.
But I think that Trez Bridges and I think Pup Howard really made that fourth down play on that little speed option they ran. I think Pup played it perfectly. Trez came downhill.
Mm-hmm.
They played that really well. The defensive line, it's just a bunch of average players. And like before the year, I was like, hey, if you have depth like they do and you can rotate them, maybe they play above their level. And now you're out. You're hurt.
I like what I saw from Kelby Collins when he got action though. And I was like questioning why he didn't play the first 3 games. We didn't see like enough of him in my opinion, but it's a developmental issue. Like I think like seriously, Kelby should be playing better. We saw them play off their natural abilities when they got on campus as true freshmen versus Utah. To go from there to where we are now, there's like no progress in their development. These are highly regarded top recruits that we beat Bama and like those people for. So there's just some developmental issues, man. The transfer portal guys are a different story, but the guys that they recruited are highly regarded guys that should be getting developed. The transfer portal guys, we took some backups from other programs that aren't developing or panning out like we thought they should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Kelby Collins ranked as your 5th best player on defense.
I still don't like that position change for him though, dog. Like, what are you doing? He can get pressure from the edge. He should be playing where Tyreek Sapp is playing, where Justice Boone is playing. He's a strong side defensive end. He's not a defensive tackle. They call it defensive end. They call it defensive end, right. but it's defensive tackle. Like they run a 3-4.
James Ferguson is right. LJ McCray as well. Like play the young boys. Like what before y'all
LJ played a little more, I think.
Before y'all put y'all stench on them and they lose their sauce, like LJ McCray looks good. You know, he's
LJ played 21 snaps.
Yeah. Of 90? Of how many? This team can't get off the field. 95 defensive snaps.
Sharif Denson played 95. Yeah, 95.
95 is insane.
Yeah. What's up
with the field, bro?
What's the status of Aaron Gates and his injury? You know?
No, I don't know. I didn't see him get hurt. Did not see him get hurt at the Texas A&M game. And him popping up on the injury report Wednesday was news to me.
Gotcha.
Let's see who else performed well or poorly. Dontre Robinson got some snaps in this game. Yeah, Devin Moore.
I think that was that his first time playing?
Yes.
I think so.
I believe so.
But that's because you're out multiple defensive tackles.
Well, you're out multiple defensive tackles, and you're probably gassed because most teams don't play 95 snaps on defense in a game. Most times it's like 65 or 68.
Yeah, but Ron's right. It's probably because they lost confidence in each other. Clown.
I mean, just atrocious here. I mean, I'll pull up what the game looked like for Mississippi State against the Gators defense here. It's going to take one moment here. So game log when it comes to defense, Mississippi State, 240 yards passing, 277 yards. They have let up 200. So the fewest yards that they've allowed passing was to Samford. That was 144. They let up 178 to Texas A&M, 240 to Mississippi State, and 385 to Miami. when it comes to rushing the ball, the Gators have allowed 144 yards, then 61 to Samford, then 310 to Texas A&M, and then 240 to Mississippi State.
Toledo
They've
held
allowed
Mississippi State to 66 the week before.
3 rushing touchdowns in the game. They've allowed 7 rushing touchdowns this year. They let up 21 last year and then 29 the season before. I mean, it's a generationally bad defense, and I don't see how, with the schedule that they have, UCF is your leading rushing team in the FBS. Texas is one of your best offenses. Tennessee is one of your best offenses. Georgia's going to put out good offense. Ole Miss is going to put up a bunch of yards. This could be a generationally bad defense. And we always say it can't get worse. And you know what? It can. Can get worse.
Oh, yeah. We're going to beat UCF, and then it'll get worse.
45-3. Steve Spurrier, his first time playing Tennessee. That is the largest loss to Tennessee in Florida's history. I believe we'll set a new record this year.
I don't think so. I don't think it's that.
Buddy. It's going to get bad in Neyland.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably going to pick UCF to win next week.
We know you already did like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
That's when we thought we had a special team.
Genius.
We do say it's generationally bad every year, and for some reason it gets generationally worse.
Yeah.
It's like limbo. How low can you go? You just keep lowering the bar, and there they are, breaking their back to get under it.
I mean, it looks bad. There was Josiah Davis, Teddy Foster, Dijon Johnson, Jordan Castell, Devin Moore all had all of the passes against them caught. The other guys only let up 1 pass each, and then Devin Moore allowed 3. Shamar James allowed 49 yards to be caught against him. I do want to give Jason Marshall his continued flowers. Looks like a completely new player this year.
What can he get paid, man? It's that contract year. He's tired of NIL. He's trying to get the big boy checks, man. He came to play football.
Yeah, he had a nice pass deflection for a touchdown. That would have been a touchdown.
Third round.
Third round? I thought you said third day. I was about to say.
No. Third round pick. Second day pick.
Yeah, second day. That's a good spot for him. From a coverage perspective, just not great. Jason Marshall graded out as your highest. When it came to coverage, Strikehouse Bridges. When we talk about some of these transfers that have come in and not working out, Bridges looks to be working out. Your highest ranked defensive player, again, was Grayson Howard. I think that's the second time this season. He looked good. And then Jane Robinson was number 2. Brian Taylor, number 3, only played 17 snaps. Then Bridges, then Kelby Collins, and Jason Marshall round out your top 6 there on defense. But not a lot to say about that performance when you let up that number of yards per game. You said what, 106th in the country, 116th in the country, 106th in rushing against them. So yeah, Shamar was covering slot wide receivers, which I'm not a football coach, would tell you that that's not what you want your middle linebacker doing.
Fire.
So see my guy Jamie Chadwell come back and beat East Carolina last Saturday, 35-24.
Buddy.
Yeah, good for him, man. He's gonna end up with a nice Vandy job one day, man, but just not here.
Shamar James had 9 plays where he was guarding the slot wide receiver.
Give me y'all 3.
Jeez. Go ahead.
Give me y'all 3 coaches, man. Y'all coaching board, top 3.
Lane, Lincoln, Drinkwitz.
No.
Okay.
No. Lane Kiffin. You caught me off guard there. Definitely not Drinkwitz, though. I think he's too weird, man.
Give me
he's Drinkwitz to me.
Lane. Lincoln Lane, I think Lane is just a home run everybody want, but he could be trolling a little bit. Everybody just relax and vibe. Do I think there's some interest there? I know there's some interest there, but Lane's gonna play the game. It could go either way. He could turn this into a whole negotiation, or a bidding war. Ole Miss re-upping and him coming to Florida. Who knows? But I like Lincoln. I like Lane. And I'm gonna go James Franklin for my third guy.
He's 1-8 against Ohio State. Has been outscored by 80 points.
All these guys got track records, or marks on their resume. I don't think any of these coaches are in their prime yet, though. That's including, I think, what Lincoln Riley's the youngest of the three that I named. Kiffin, I don't think Kiffin's in his prime yet. I think he's still got a lot more to go. James Franklin, he's the oldest in the bunch that I got, but I still don't think he's in his prime. They all verse top 10 got, spotty records. They all have, like, Lane comes with baggage, off the field things, some recruiting knocks on his resume as well. Lincoln Riley, like, he hasn't won the big game. He, accumulates a lot of talent out there on the West Coast, but it's not adding up to the win department. So, like, all of them have, like, marks against them,
I mean, and I think with the way that you have coaching turnover now, right, and everybody's trying to find that next gem, right? You have a lot of coaches fired after 3 and 4 years. There's not the same minor league system of coaches anymore, right? So there's probably some coaches that are out there that could be successful at UF, but not now, and they're not going to get hired at UF now, right? Like, I think Kirk Cignetti, who was at James Madison, he's now at Indiana. Florida's not going to hire the head coach that spent 1 year at Indiana. I think Jamie Chadwell could be a good coach. I don't think that Florida is going to hire Jamie Chadwell for the fan base's sake. I think that there's a lot of names out there that you don't really know. There's just not a lot of proven entities, proven commodities. And Florida's never really gone after the proven commodity. But even when you look at schools that do well across the country, I don't know who Florida could potentially go after and want to poach, or that fans would be excited about. There's not a lot of exciting coaches out there for this fan base other than Lane Kiffin, who also comes with a lot of asterisks next to his name.
Yeah, I think the other thing too with Lane is all of that. Who has Lane beat? Like, Lane's not leaving this Ole Miss team. Lane views this as a chance for them to beat somebody, to make a run, to get that monkey, get that narrative off of his resume. Mm-hmm. So if it is Lane, you're going to hire him in January.
You know what I think, though? I think that CBS
every coach on our list is going to be likely playing in January in the playoffs. I think any coach that Florida goes out there it should be. Yeah, they got to wait for whoever they're going out there, in my opinion, for it to be the right type of hire. You got to be going out there a proven winner, and they need to be like around that, if not in the playoffs, right around the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, you went head coach in waiting with no head coach experience in Muschamp. You went Saban guy.
But hold on.
Yeah.
Will Muschamp was widely considered to be the best assistant coach in college football at the time.
But no head coaching experience is what
Correct.
I'm going with.
Right.
Then you went head coaching experience, moderate success in the group of 5 with McElwain.
Mm-hmm.
Then you went moderate success, but SEC head coaching experience. No success outside of the years he had Dak Prescott, but moderate success. And then
he was the offensive coordinator for the Gators
for a national championship. Yes.
Right.
So then you went G5. I don't think you can go G5 again. And I don't think you can go, like people are saying, Glenn Schumann. I don't think this is a job. Florida is not a job to learn how to be a head coach.
Right.
I'm bringing out a Viking hat for Glenn Schumann.
And I don't think we got a super chat here from Matt Thornton. Top 3 coaches: Lane, Dan Lanning, and Bill O'Brien.
Phil Knight is 86 years old. He's worth $33 billion. He wants to see Oregon win a national championship.
We say this every year, but they get poached.
We
say this every time.
Dan Lanning has a $16 million buyout and a blank check for NIL.
We say this every time. Like with Willie Taggart, we said it. With Mario Cristobal, we said it.
But they didn't have NIL. You didn't have NIL back then. You weren't buying players back then. Back then, it was just like, oh, the players get cool Jordans and cool Nike shoes.
Yeah,
now it's like,
NIL when
oh,
Mario
cool,
bounced.
Player.
I just think I don't think
Mario came. They had just NIL had just become a thing when Mario left because Mario was hired at the same time as Billy.
Yeah, but I just don't think Dan Lanning is interested in leaving Oregon, right? And I don't think it. I just think it's too early for him. I don't think he'll jump right now. I do like Dan Lanning. I just don't think he's an option. That's why he's not on my list. But if just all out doesn't matter of poachability, Dan Lanning is on it. But I just don't think he's poachable right now because he got a good thing going, and that conference is set up for him to be successful in.
Yeah, I think his buyout 16 or 18 million. He would be the Alabama coach right now if he wanted to leave Oregon. And
right.
Listen, if you think Florida and Alabama are the same right now, you need to take a step or two back. Not close where the programs are now. Not saying that they can't be
job wise. I was surprised how I don't think Bama was a sexy job when they hit the market though.
No, well, first off, you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy. Like Urban got that right. There was a Zook buffer in between him and Spurrier. You want to be the guy that follows the guy that followed the guy. I don't see Dan Lanning leaving for Florida. That's a lot of money to pay for a buyout. Jed Fish is a name we see. Jed Fish, I think, would crawl over broken glass to be the head coach of Florida. He just went to Washington, and he has a $20 million buyout.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not even winning this year to be able to justify, in my opinion. So I don't think he'll be an option by the time what his season's about to turn into. I don't think he's going to be an option.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, if you think of programs all around the country, who are names that are even worth considering? And that's where I think that Florida finds themselves in a tough position, right? Like, people have talked about Ryan Day. Is Ryan Day worn out his welcome in Ohio State? Probably not. I don't think that Florida's going to go and get Ryan Day, but that's a name that people talk about. Michigan's on a new coach, Clemson, Dabo Swinney. He's been there for a while. But you start to look at programs all around the country. A lot of their coaches have been there 1, 2, 3 years. Is Florida going to go poach? Is Florida going to want to go pay the buyout for that coach? And is that coach going to want to come to Florida? Does that coach want to live in Gainesville, Florida? Does that does that coach want to take over what Florida is going to likely leave behind there as well? So
yeah, I think also too when the job really does come available and as the season starts to wind down, I think people are going to start to see too. We're listening to a lot of talking heads, and they all just want echo chamber, and they're just saying that this job is not an attractive job. I think you're about to see that this job is a very attractive job. This is the University of Florida. Don't get it twisted. And I think every coach that I named out of my three, I think they're all interested people that'll be down to move for this job. Like Penn State with James Franklin, I think he wanted the job when Billy got the job. There was some interest there on that side when that happened. And just friends with somebody on that staff. So I know what the vibes is like up there. We already know not Lincoln Riley. We already know Lane Kiffin is flirting with Florida. Ole Miss has bags, but the interest is there. So people that acting like this job is not interesting or it's not an attractive job because we've been down for a little bit. It's just not the reality, man. This is still a top tier job in the country.
I'll tell you, and listen, maybe it's agents play reporters like me. Jimmy Sexton gets richer every offseason. There's absolute interest in the coaching ranks to come
for sure.
to Florida.
Yeah, no,
it's an attractive job. Like, listen,
no, it is an attractive job.
Yes, I don't think that Lane Kiffin already got an extension. JB,
it's to me, it's not just about whether Florida is an attractive job or not, or if somebody is interested in the Florida job. It's more of who would take the Florida job. There's a lot of people that could be interested in it, right? Yep. But what's the situation that they're getting into, right? Florida now has has an interim president, right?
Right.
They have an AD right now that is a name that people that aren't even fans of the University of Florida know the name of because of how hot his perceptive seat is, whether that is or not internally. You now have dueling articles coming out, one from CBS, which was kind of a Scott Strickland, like, hey, we'll give you access if you say I'm making the next hire. And then you also have the other side is saying, hey, no, the boosters are tired of, and I've told you guys this, we've had this conversation. The boosters are tired. They're tired of spending money and they want to be involved in this process, right? So you have an interim president, you have an AD that's on the potential hot seat, whatever that looks like. What happens if a new AD comes in and you don't jive with that person, or that person doesn't believe in your vision, or that person has a different vision of what football looks like at the University of Florida, right? So that's what I mean. To me, it's like the attractiveness is there, but that's still a major issue that Florida's going to have to figure out their way over.
One person I talked to in the agent coaching world wonders that's a big wonder for people. What is Scott Strickland's job security? If a new president comes in after let's say we pick Florida and Scott and we're there, a new president comes in, and some stuff happens. If Todd Golden doesn't work out, another one of Scott's hires doesn't work out. The only hire that has worked out from Scott Strickland is Anthony Nesty, who was already on staff, and they just promoted him. Not to say that Kelly Ray Finley won't work out or Todd Golden won't work out. It might be his best roster this year. But right now, the coaches Scott Strickland's hired have a barely better than 500 winning percentage. And the only conference titles are from Anthony Nesty.
We are hearing that he won't make that hire. I know there's been some conflicting reports about who's going to make this next hire, but from everybody on our end, we're hearing that he won't be making that hire, right?
Well, listen, the athletic director is the person in their job title that makes the hires. He was given pretty free reign to hire Dan because he knew Dan, had worked with Dan, and Florida fans knew Dan. He was given pretty free reign to go after Billy Napier. Neither worked out. You're 0 for 2. Choke up.
Yeah, you can't get shot at. No. Let the bat go. It's time for pinch hitter. that type of vibe. Time for a pinch hitter. We'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, the leadership at Florida is in the flux. One thing too, like I just think right now you just got to be able to do something. Like the players on the team know this guy's fired. And I think like the fans know he's fired. He knows he's fired. Like we going through the motions right now. And I think you're just hurting the program a little bit more, just going through the motions when this guy's gonna get fired. We had a bye week and they're like you don't know who's gonna be opting out. You don't know what's happening, like program wise. We need some leadership and some direction of any sort. And right now, the whole program, the fan base, everybody's in limbo. And it's a shame, man.
Yeah, I mean, you have people that are threatening to stop donating. Right? You have some big deal donors that have talked and they're ready to buy out Billy Napier's contract. They're ready to move on, but they also want some assurances that they're going to be involved.
I'm chipping in. I got a little something on it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, every drop in the bucket helps, Corey. You know what I mean?
Put King Malik up there. Put King Malik up there.
I think this is being sarcastic. Nick, we apologize. You're always right. It's just hard for us to face reality.
Thank you. It is hard being right all the time.
Yeah,
Nick is wrong so much on here.
I got a newborn and a wife at home. I'm not right when I'm at home, so I need to be right somewhere.
Oh, he says he's not being sarcastic. Oh, very good. You guys have any other thoughts on this game, on the Gators coaching situation?
No, man. That middle eight was horrendous. More why they should be fired.
Yeah. Mike Vrabel's not going to come to the University of Florida. Urban Meyer is not coming to the University of Florida. Steve Spurrier is not going to step in as an interim coach. He's not going to be a GM. You do?
Yeah, why not? you need somebody to rally the troops here a little bit, man. Like we just like
Bro,
I don't know. You got UCF on the way. Like this schedule's about to get brutal, and it could get real ugly without some rah-rah energy on the sidelines. If we're coming out on the sidelines with Flat Billy, with the vibes just chilling, them coasting up out of here, like we could get absolutely smoked by some teams. Like if somebody cares, somebody needs to step up and like fire this guy. And you need to hire a rah-rah guy to lead these troops. Some type of this season, man, or it could get spooky.
Here's something. How mad will you be? Florida goes out, they lose to UCF, and then the Sunday press conference happens. We have decided that Billy Napier will not return to be our head coach in 2025, but he will coach out the rest of the season.
I'm not even mad at that. Like, yeah, just give us some direction. Like, even if they do that, right? Like, you just got to give the people something. Like, right now, like, we all feel he's fired. I think he needs to be like, nah, I'll take that back. Get him out of here. Get him all the way out of here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Get him all the way out of here because you just need somebody to rally these guys. And there's like, I'm not seeing you guys are saying that Mercer. I don't see the players rallying behind this guy. I don't see him rallying behind the players. When Mizell play was called back, you need to be in the ref's face. You got to show your team that you got their back. He's just not a coach. Like, he's just not a coach for this team. He's not a coach for the SEC. He needs to go chill and coach maybe a men's Bible League flag team or something, you know, like where it's just chill and everybody gets a trophy at the end of the season, you know, and it's just about being good people. You feel me? And just, you know, getting the message over to be just good people. But right now, like SEC, we need a center like Lane to come in here, to, you know, curse, do some debauchery, you know, commit a couple felonies, whatever it takes, man.
Listen, I have thoroughly enjoyed not having to wake up every Sunday and check Gainesville police reports. I have thoroughly enjoyed that. So, yes, thank you. Great men let me sleep in on Sundays. But I can see that being a real option. Like if Dan Mullen was given an option, Dan said, miss me with that.
Yeah. I mean, he said fire. He said to go.
You got my direct deposit number? Go, no problem.
Do you believe that Dan Mullen actually told Scott Strickland? I don't either.
No. Also, what boss is asking the person they're firing who they should replace them with? Like, if I'm your boss and you left for another opportunity and we liked the work you were doing, hey, do you have any recommendations? If I'm telling you, hey, we're paying you 16 real American dollars to get the hell out of here and never come back. Hey, before you leave, do you have any recommendations? Dan does and says what's best for Dan.
I never respect a coach that quit on his players. Like, you soft. Like, you quit on your kids. You told it's a family environment. I'm gonna be your father. All this nonsense. You quit. Anybody that quits on athletes or players or young guys, you're in a mentor's position. You're a chump. Straight up.
Yeah, 100%. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Got 2 quick ad reads.
Nah, man. Peace, love, and blessings.
I mean, I feel like we're going to do the same thing next week. At least there's no game to talk about. Next week, we'll talk about the UCF game a little bit. We're working on a couple of interviews.
Do we want to get that UCF guy back on?
No, I don't.
We don't want. He's just. I mean, you'll never see a chest. He was talking smack 3 months ago. I can't imagine.
Yeah. No, we don't need to.
I'll take his place.
Yeah.
I'm picking
you. Bring him on.
I'm picking
you. Can bring him on. You can bring him on the Gators Online show. All right, let's one time for our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks. Go visit them. Best cups out there.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the team out there. Great cups. Go buy them. Use promo code Stadium15 at checkout. Get you 15% off of your order. They get shipped very, very quickly. Great product, going to last you a long time. Keeps your hot drinks hot and your cold drinks cold. Also, go visit our friends over at Alumni Hall in Gainesville or online at alumnihall.com. You can use promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout. You'll get 20% off of your order through September. So remember that you've got 7 full days. I was going to say business days. You only got 5 business days. You got 7 full days here to go and use that promo code. Get 20% off of your order. So again, promo code Stadium and Gale. Check out at Alumni Hall. Before you leave, if you could hit the like button, subscribe button, share it with your friends and family. Nick, I think you have Song of the Week.
I got one picked out.
What you got for us, man?
This is from longtime country artist Post Malone. This one will pull at your heartstrings for all the girl dads like me. It's called Yours, off of his new album, F1 Trillion.
He's the first person ever to have a #1 rock, rap, country, and one other album in history.
I think it's. So I was watching a video.
Oh, pop.
Pop. I was watching a video when who's the old rapper on Breakfast Club?
Old rapper on Breakfast Club.
Not Chameleonaire.
It's Charlemagne the God. He's
Charlemagne. Charlemagne never rapped.
No. I
No.
mean, probably like locally or something, but like
tried to.
not significantly.
Charlemagne.
Yeah.
I watched
rapped
some
too,
old videos. I saw. Listen, Dan and I rapped as soon as 8 Mile came out. We were all rapping at our public,
Right.
in our private schools. Charlemagne like called out Post Malone like for being a culture vulture, and Post was just like, I'm literally just making music that I like to make. So I think that's dope. That as he has grown and evolved, he has continued to just make what he likes making right now. But yeah, the song Yours, it's about him. He and his wife have a daughter. Good song.
Already. He probably left rap just in time, man. He probably seen the baby oil drips on the way. I gotta get out of here.
Could you imagine being like going through all of the school and training you have to do to be an FBI agent, and then you walk into Diddy's house and they're like, "Hey, I need you to count bottles of lube today." Like, brother, what? That is not
up to 1,000. Hopefully,
that's not what I went to the academy for, my guy.
You know?
Give me a desk job again. I'm not trying to count lube bottles at Diddy's house.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like a job DJ Douglas.
Songs.
That sounds like a job DJ Douglas should have, man. But he definitely should be playing football.
That's disrespectful.
Jeez,
He needs a desk job, man.
I thought you said he needed to be the lube counter.
I think Silk was offering that as an option for
The
him.
desk job, bro. Like it's safe.
That's not a desk job. That's working in the field. That's working in the field, in the trenches.
Show's
Safe
falling
trenches
off the
for him.
rails.
Yeah. Let's get out of
Off
here,
the
man.
rails. All right, we'll see you guys soon.
Go Jags, man. Let's get this win, baby. Big Jags, dude.